You've actually had more than just your fantasy football side project get onto our radar here at the Super Data Science Podcast. You also, it looks like you might have the number one earthquake app on Android called Earthquake Alert, and something called Yaddle.ai, which is an LLM powered search engine.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, tell us a bit about those projects as well, and how doing these side projects helps keep you sharp and grounded. Yeah, why you think they're an effective part of your leadership style.
Yeah. Well, so Yaddle is that 100 lines sort of
I gotcha.
answers, and
I gotcha. I
that's the
gotcha.
fancier version. I continue to work on it on the side, and it's just, again, it's a very fun, almost playground for me to do some of the real time search and try these different models that come out. I have a model switcher. I use some amount of query classification to figure out in certain cases which model to route to. It's a fun project for sure. Same thing with the earthquake app. This was this goes back way back when I was getting my master's, and I was taking a entrepreneurship class, and we started to learn about these emerging platforms with mobile, with the iPhone and with Android. And so I was like, hey, let me just sort of play around with this to see what I can build. Turns out when you're an early independent developer and you put an app out there, you end up getting a nice flywheel effect. And so, yeah, over the years, anyone that's been looking for earthquake information would spot my app. And I like earthquakes. I grew up in the Bay Area. I've had to experience a lot of earthquakes in my life, and just had sort of a fascination with that. It was really a learning opportunity overall. Kind of connecting to your second question, I do feel very strongly that leaders, engineering leaders, they really need to find the sweet spot with how technical they are. You obviously can't be too hands-on, because then you have no time to think about strategy, people development, org design, things like that. But you also can't be not technical and come across like, oh, you're up in the ivory tower. You're just saying, hey, we got to go do this, and not have that backing to say, here's why, or here's why I agree. So I do think leaders finding that kind of technical balance is really important. That's an important part of my own philosophy, who I look for in good leaders at work. And a lot of times you may not have a lot of time during the day, so you can do things on the side. I also feel very strongly AI is changing things considerably. These tools are very, very new. And it's very hard to say, hey, go use more AI. We talked about that earlier with work slop. That's sort of why we're in the work slop situation. You almost need to use them yourselves. You need to embrace them. You need to understand how they work, and frankly, their limitations. And then you're just so much more willing and able to provide crisp and concrete advice on, yes, this is an AI tool we want to deploy. Here's why. Here, I've thought about it. Here's some gotchas. Here's how we're going to address that. And so I do think AI changes things, and which is why just staying much more technical, much more sort of on top of the trends is essential in today's modern leadership.